second hint. Have you read the finer print? You will get there. Keep the faith. Check the place in which you bathe. What? The finer print?
Okay,
I giggled at the questionable rhyming. Still, this was a great improvement from the previous years.
we gonna play a few.
Please leave us a good review. We've been paid a fine deposit. Go ahead and check your closet. Wait, third coat I'd ever seen. I grabbed it, pulling it off its hanger in excitement and throwing it on. It was perfect. The shade completion. I found it where I'd left it and turned it on. One new notification.
I was about to say, this is not where I left off.
It was a message from Michael. Your order number 63820 has been completed. The details are below for reference. 8 times red roses, classic, 30 USD. 6 scented candles, vanilla, 22. 3 custom scavenger hunt clues, birthday, 50 USD. 1 pink suede coat, Michael, 0 USD. Please check coat pocket for complimentary gift. Pushed over me. Was there something else? Had he bought me the watch I'd asked for my last birthday? I snuck my hand into the left pocket of my coat. There was something inside. It was circular and squishy. At once, I retracted my hand and snapped the overhead lights on to get a better look. Whatever it was, it hadn't left any residue on my finger. I wish I hadn't. At first, I didn't. I took the coat off and dumped it onto the floor. I nearly retched at the sight. There was no mistaking it. Then, my phone pinged. What? What was he playing at? With shaking hands, I pressed the call button and held my phone up to my ear, ready to give my boyfriend a piece of my mind.
Okay.
Hello?
I was a little too big there.
Chimed on the other end. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Could you let me know your order number? The woman's tone was sickly sweet. It took me a moment to understand what she wanted. I go right now, I growled. Ma'am, I'm afraid I can't do that. Please let me know your order number and I'll see how I can help. There was no way around it. 63820. I read aloud. I heard the clacking at her keyboard. Right, she said after a pause. I can confirm that your new coat is indeed 100% Michael. Is there anything else I can help you with? Ma'am, Michael came into our shop this morning looking for a very particular, and that it had to be custom made. As she spoke, my heart traveled from my chest to my throat. Where did he get the material? She sighed and dropped my phone onto my new coat, staring at the mess on the floor. My eyes were brimming with tears. I couldn't understand what it was from Michael. He sent a video.
I gotta go back up. Y'all scam callers getting crazy. Talking about some damn Subway. What the Subway?
Wisconsin. It's in a small community with a couple dozen houses in the area, but it's a few miles away from town. I'd been living in that same house for about 4 years. For the most part, I hadn't had any issues. I liked not being in a busy area and just having trees surrounding the community. I worked a normal 9-to-5 job though, which meant afterwards, I sold my house and moved closer to town because the thought of it happening again still gives me chills. I woke up one morning at my usual time to get ready for work. I got dressed and made a bowl of cereal, then drove into town. At 5, I started the drive back home. I headed inside and dropped my bag on the kitchen chair, then started searching through the pantry for something to cook for dinner. As I looked through the shelves, though, I noticed something odd. The box of cereal I had for breakfast wasn't where I remembered to have put it. Actually, there wasn't anywhere at all. I looked around the kitchen for a minute, making a quick dinner, and pulled into the kitchen to fill up my water bottle before bed. Then I went over to the back door to turn off the back porch lights. But just before I switched them off, I saw no way something really strange and gave me chills, but I wasn't really sure what exactly even happened. I was more confused than anything. I switched off the lights and went to bed. In the morning, I got ready for work again and went downstairs. But when I opened the pantry, the box of cereal was there, the one that I thought had been missing. It was sitting right where I'd left it. I figured I just missed it somehow, and quickly ate and went not there yesterday. Then the figure by my house came to mind, and only got me more freaked. It was Friday though, so I had the weekend to relax and collect myself.
Okay, I think I
At
got
4,
something.
my boss let the staff go home early, which was a big relief for me because I couldn't focus anyways. I drove home, getting there just before 5. As soon as I stepped through the door though, something was off. I didn't know what, but I could just feel it. It came from the living room. Hello? And scanned the room. And no one. Living room. And scanned I went back by the front door, preparing to check up. I turned my head down for a second. I stared at the tree. I sprinted out of the house and ran all the way to my neighbor's house. They called the police for me. I stayed with them. After that, I put my house up for sale and stayed with some relatives until I was able to move. I don't know if that man was harmful, or if he was just living in my house because he could, but I could never shake the sight.
Limited edition MJV Plus.
Some scarier ones. Let's make it a little more scary.
The moment I stepped through doors of what was once just another fast food joint, I followed reluctantly, might depart by decay. Overhead, fluorescent lights flickered without rhythm, which was strange since the place was supposed to be without power. This place is such a letdown, and a cult symbol spray-painted across the walls for her 100K or so TikTok followers. Suddenly, Maggie disappeared into what must have been the kitchen area, and I hurried. Yeah, right next to the expired of impossibly cold air hit us.
How's it still working?
She stepped inside, cameras I couldn't name.
There's nothing here.
Sound emanated from somewhere in the freezer, a rhythmic tapping, like knuckles against glass. Maggie moved deeper into the freezer, camera flash strobing the darkness.
Hello?
Us with a sickening thud. We rushed to the door, but it wouldn't budge. The handle was ice cold, burning my palm.
Use your crowbar.
Maggie urged, gesturing to my backpack. I'd brought it for protection, not to break out of a goddamn freezer. I was working the crowbar into the door seam when we heard it. The knocking. Faster now, more urgent. Somebody else was with us. All made our blood turn cold. Walls covered in deep gouges, like scratched into the metal. Dark figure standing in the corner, meat cleaver. I shoved Maggie behind me and swung the crowbar wildly. Get the hell away! In the next flash, the figure was gone. I had. With a sudden groan, the door gave way on its own, swinging comparatively warm air. Then my eyes darted. We sprinted through the restaurant, knocking over chairs, slipping on debris. Something was behind us. I could hear its footsteps, wet and deliberate. Nothing made sense anymore. Eventually, we stumbled into what must have been a break room. The walls were covered in melted candles and strange symbols drawn in something dark. The photos showed smiling staff members from various eras, the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. But in every photo, standing in the back row,
From before.
the candles suddenly lit them voice that sounded like it hadn't been used in years. No one leaves the freezer alive. Our screams could have awoken the entire America. We ran blindly, no longer caring which direction led out. Behind us, the footsteps grew faster. Without hesitation, I smashed it with the crowbar, helping Maggie climb through first. The jagged glass tore at our skin, but the pain barely registered through the adrenaline. When we finally reached the road and rolled down his window, concern etched on his face. What's wrong?
There's someone in there. He's killing people.
The man's expression shifted from concern to unease. That Wendy's been shut down since the employee accident in 2000. The butcher, his cleaver dripping red onto the forest floor. His cap was pulled low, but I could see his smile, that terrible, patient smile. Cold and slick with blood. We both knew what... The rain was pouring outside, hammering against the Starbucks windows like it was trying to glow that made the cafe. But then a guy showed up. He said his name was Eric. Side! He yelled, his voice muffled through the glass. I leave him out there in the storm. Big mistake. This all over the... I asked, my voice shaky. Over there, in the front door, and when I tried to slip out the back, I found it chained from my phone. A sick smirk. You get 30 seconds. I didn't wait for him to finish. I bolted hard. I was sure he could hear it. Ready or not, here I come. Eric's voice echoed through the empty cafe. His boots scraped against the floor, slow and deliberate. The sound of his switchblade dragging along the counter made my teeth clench. Screech. I flinched, biting down on my lip to keep from screaming. Then, silence. I peeked through a gap between the boxes. The cafe was empty. Where was he? I had to move. I crept toward the rest. In the mirror, I saw him. Bird. I screamed he'd recover. I sprinted toward the back storage area, my lungs birching behind a stack of milk crates. The cold bit into my skin, but I barely was there like a little mouse. The door handle rattled violent. My blood from when I'd hit him. Found you, he whispered. The door flew open, and I bolted, swinging the tray like a shield. Eric lunged at me, his blade slicing through my arm. I stumbled into the customer area, hurled the scalding liquid into his face. He screamed, crumpled to the floor with a howl. The front blared, deafening in the silence. Eric scrambled after me. The last thing I saw before the darkness swallowed me was Eric's silhouette, limping back into the shadows of the cafe. I woke up in the hospital, my arm bandaged and my mind racing. The police said they found the cafe empty, with no sign of Eric. But I know he's out there, and I know he's not done playing. So, if you're ever working a late shift and someone bangs on the door, begging to be let in, don't. Just don't. Because you might not be as lucky as I was. Did you hear about the weeping woman? Zeke asked. So whatever prank you and Milo are trying to pull, it won't work. Abandoned tunnel near the broken railroad. Went with him because I was certain this was some stupid prank, but Zeke kept mocking me, saying I was not brave enough to go there and blah blah blah. Fast forward, we were on our way home after school. When's that tunnel right now and record a video, we'll get a free bucket of KFC chicken nuggets tomorrow. I thought Milo would say yes right away because the only thing that motivated to tell everyone how easily I fell for their trap for April Fool. So I accepted the challenge. I told them to go home. Meanwhile, I started walking towards the woods. My plan was simple. Go to the tunnel, record myself. Milo weren't following me. A few times with my dad to collect rare down. The huge abandoned tunnel lay in, so the end of it was clearly visible. I began recording myself hanging from above. Drops of rainwater were falling from the roof. A damp smell of rotten leaves and dead rats surrounded the air inside. I walked around a bit and took some selfies. 10 minutes past nuggets. I was all set to return home when it was having his final voice from behind. There was a homeless man and is shaken by his sudden appearance, but still maintained a poker face. Didn't you hear you come? Just like that bat? No. And also didn't hear the predator when it came for it. I faked a nervous chuckle. You're funny. He stopped smiling, then waddled close to the headless bat and stomped on it. Better to put it out of its misery, he muttered, closing his eyes. Ghost of a woman or not, but I was a second away from wetting my pants. I've often seen those scary stories where people start to they get chased. I was so scared that I wasn't sure whether I'd be able to make it alive if I ran. So I put on a courageous face and said, well, it's getting late. Mom will be back to see if he was following me. I didn't have to, because a few seconds later, the homeless guy was walking right next to me. So, what were you doing here anyway? Just exploring. What is there to explore here? I kept walking, so did he. The tunnel now was feeling never-ending to me, too close to me that our shoulders almost touched. I calculated every move because somehow I felt the only way out was to be normal about this whole scenario. So instead, it still didn't stop. I stop, I die, I thought. I replied, keeping my cool as much as possible. No, it's just hot in here. We were almost at the other end of the tunnel. I could see the reflecting glim of the distant streetlight. My hopes were getting high. I could make out alive. But he didn't blink, not once. Then he leaned closer, brought his deer around, ran. I stopped once I reached home. I broke down on the porch, panting and gasping for air. My hand was still closed, holding something wet off the bat. My haven was the rooftop pool. At the end of a long day of school in constant health, or so I believed. I wet my toes in the water, basking in the silence. The lights on the pool gave a gentle, soothing glow, and the distant hum of the city below seemed a million miles away, drowning out the tension of the day. That was when I heard it, a faint splash, and with the chairs neatly stacked and the umbrellas closed. I told myself it was probably just my imagination. I shook it off and kept swimming, but then I saw them. Wet footprints were leaving a towel and scanned the dimly lit deck. There was nothing. There was no one. That was when I noticed that my phone was gone. I spun around, with my heart half hid in the shadows. He was standing there, watching me.
Hey!
I shouted, with my voice shaking.
What the hell are you doing?
Come back up. I grabbed my stuff and bolted for the exit gate, with my bare feet slapping against the wet tiles. When I reached the gate, I grabbed the handle and yanked it hard from behind, sending me sprawling forward into the water. I hit the surface hard, with a rush of cold water filling my nose. I kicked frantically, trying to reach the surface, but hands grabbed my ankles, pulling me down. I thrashed wildly with my heart held in my ears. My lungs burned as I fought to break free. The figure clamped a hand over my mouth, holding me underwater. I hit the pool deck, gasping for air. I coughed violently, looking to use. I grabbed a pool pole and swung it with all my strength, clipping as shut me off. I sprinted across the perimeter of the pool, my breath ragged, my heart pounding. The wet tiles made every step treacherous. I slipped again, crashing hard against a row of deck chairs. Pain shot through my knee, slapping against the wet ground, getting closer with every second. I hurled a chair in his path, buying myself a few seconds as he stumbled over it. My vision blurred from the panic, but I did not look back.
Welcome, you've got mail.
Gloves and a roll of duct tape submerged under. Sat on the edge of the ambulance, shivering under a blanket as an EMT checked my arm. My hands were still shaking. I tried to answer the officer's questions, but my mind kept drifting back to his face. I'm alive. I know how lucky I am, but every time I close my eyes, I see his shadowy figure stalking toward me. I see the way he moved with calm precision, like he had done this chest. I keep my doors locked and double-check my windows every night, but even with all of that, I can't shake the feeling that he's watching me somewhere out there. I was walking home from the library, my backpack heavy with textbooks. when I heard it, the faint, tinny sound of an ice cream truck jingle. It was late, way too late for ice cream, but the sound was weirdly comforting. I followed the music because my curiosity got the better of me. The truck was parked near the edge of the... I called out as I stepped closer. The truck, so I knocked on the window. That was when he appeared. A man in a mask, one of those creepy, featureless ones, popped up from the back of the truck. Before I could scream, he grabbed behind us. Everything went black. I woke up shivering, with my teeth clattering so hard I thought they might crack. The air was freezing, and I realized jingle still playing. I could hear the driver whistling along, his voice muffled but cheerful. "Hope you like Rocky Road," he said through a small vent. "You're in for a rough ride." My heart raced as I struggled against the ropes. That's when I saw it, a jagged edge on a metal tray just within reach. I grabbed it and started sawing at the rope, with my fingers numb from the cold. The truck came to a stop, and I froze. I could hear the driver moving around outside. This was my chance to escape. I slipped out of the freezer, hiding among the tubs of melting ice cream. The truck was a mess, with tools and junk scattered everywhere. The masked man roared in rage, clutching his hand where I had stabbed him with the jagged tray. The truck's headlights lit up the forest, casting long, eerie shadows between the trees. The jingle played on, with its cheerful tune now twisted into something horrifying. I sprinted into the woods, my lungs burning. Twigs snapped under my feet, and my thin clothes clung to my damp skin. I could hear him behind me, with his flashlight seeping through the trees. "Come on, sweetheart," he called, with his voice taunting. "You're making this harder on me." Passed inches above my head, illuminating the mist swirling around me. I spotted a dirt road up ahead. If I could reach it, maybe I could flag down a car. I made a run for it, weaving through the trees with my heart pounding. My foot a trap. I groaned in pain, scrambling backward as he emerged from the shadow. "Stabbing me like that," he muttered, shaking his injured hand. He reached into his apron and pulled out a rusty ice cream scoop, sharpened into a jagged blade. "It's time for your special treat." My eyes darted around desperately, and then I saw it. It was a rusty tire iron, half buried in the dirt a few feet away. I lunged for it, just as he grabbed my ankle, yanking me back. I twisted onto my back and kicked, sending a spray of dirt into his face. I grabbed again and brought it down on his shoulders, his back, and his head. Blood. I staggered to my feet, panting and trembling. Car. It felt like salvation. I waved frantically, with tears in my eyes. The car slowed down, and I felt a wave of relief wash over me. "Okay," I replied.
I'm good. Just take...
Tumbled out of the car and banged on the door as hard as I could. My parents' face turned white when they saw me, covered with blood, shivering, and barely able to keep my balance. The freezer, the woods. The police searched the area but found nothing. No truck, no man. Now, every single time I hear an ice cream jingle, I know I lecture about not driving alone at night. Snuck out, the thrill of rebellion buzzing through me as I bounced out of the driveway. The gas station was a 5-minute trip, tops. I'd be back before he even rolled over in his bed, or so I thought. The snack run went fine.
Old school shit, the dropped out Porsche, you couldn't walk a mile off. Relax, relax, we're about to get rustified.
Jog if I had to. The road stretched out before me, swallowed by shadows. Each step felt heavier, like the darkness. I heard it. Footsteps. At first I thought I was imagining it. I stopped. So did they. A chill crawled up my spine. I swallowed hard and picked up my pace. The footsteps matched mine. Quicker now. closer. I spun around. Nothing. Just the empty road and the whispering trees. My heart pounded so loud I could feel it in my skull. Nope. Nope. I fumbled for my phone, flipping on the flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness. The door hung open, swaying slightly, like someone had just stepped out. My stomach turned into knots. Then, near my car, I saw them. A pair of boots against the pavement, lungs burning.
Yeah. Uh-oh. That's why they made that boy Nemesis. But it's okay. I got plenty of. Don't come over here punching me. Uh-uh. Did he just fall? There we go.
Cracked.
Orion finally reached out a few.
And had been telling the truth. Come in, I said, forcing a smile.
Investigate.
Susie stepped inside. I followed her in. I glanced over my shoulder.
You are a spy.
Susie was and something hot burned behind my eyes. Susie turned around, stared at my face, smiled.
Yes.
It hurt in my head. Get it together, Vic.
How you just now threw a hint making it to no other game?
Walk in. I couldn't see his fit above the counter again.
We're close, sir.
In a little fear, I repeated again. I remembered. Our manager Newman told me stories serial killers come in disguises as me.
I just wanted to confirm. Did you ask?
Tired shoulders giving up. Newman did. He smiled back and took out a screwdriver, but feel unsafe around him. Maybe it's in a chair cursing Newman in my head.
Do you need something?
Watching too many of these scary stories. Counter light was just above his head.
That's the key.
Why? I thought you were in Geneva. I wanted to leave, to manage to what he was doing while muttering, "Women shouldn't work so late at night. It's not safe, you know?" The unsafe feeling rushed back again. I took a snap of Miles without him noticing and sent it to Mr. Newman. Minutes later, Mr. Newman texted back. As soon as the notification popped up, I clicked. Newman had texted, "That's not more," but I knew he would reach me first. With trembling hands, I texted Newman till the cops arrive. I just hope when they do arrive, they've seen. I let out a nervous smile, saying, "Good for you." I smiled even though I was dying inside, eating my mind.
I see. It's good.
Hands through the
I'll
wire,
make sure that boy
face
is
still
down.
turning tan to the light. The tip of his index finger was gone, chopped off clean. Blood was dripping from the wound, yet he wasn't even flinching. He smiled casually,
won't open
put his
door,
finger
won't
inside
open
his
his
mouth.
mouth.
I got up shaking.
You.
His teeth and lips fluttered from the floor. I stepped back in horror, thinking he would lunge at me at any moment. But he slowly went for the exit, opened the door, and looked at me one last time. Always love Miley. Oh, Mr. Newman came with the cops. I was unable to see up. We went to the station, and there I sank. He stalked her for days even after they broke up. It isn't. I'm just glad he's not my ex. On the sheets, slanting sideways, his breath stinking of tequila. I told you, you're not gonna die, you're just drunk and being dramatic. Without cars or voices, just a fixed humming from the east came through. Wendy's, man. The dry striped dress made
This is a Survivor game, right? Like, I'm gonna go fight the boss. Like, no.
that dick to my stomach. What the hell? Hey, where are your freckles, lady? The man's smile never wavered. He leaned on the windowsill, resting his chin in both palms, batting his lashes. You are a naughty boy. His voice was syrupy and purring with a lisp. You keep talking like that and you'll make this girl blush? Fig continued to howl and
This
laugh
the
at the
trick.
steering wheel even tighter. Could you just order your food? I
But
said,
really, they
trying
better
my
turn
best
up
to
on
ignore him. But Fig, bloody drunk Fig, leaned out the window. The man's eyes narrowed, calm before the storm. You think the man let out a sinister smirk and then disappeared into the kitchen.
How you like that?
Tails jauntily.
Hey.
And had taken too well. Knocked on Fig. Come up, half popped out the window to grab the bag. Firmly clamped around Fig's hand was strong. How about some kisses from this nut? Rolled over him. A fetid cocktail of cigarette
better
forehead. Ish and breathy, sending chills down my spine. Grabbed Fig's leg and started pulling him with all my strength. But the
10
man's grip
seconds
was
to
too
detonation.
Fig's leg
9,
slipped farther out.
8,
His torso bent
7,
over the window
6,
frame and kept giggling, trembling in my fear. Fig, just hold on for a second.
Safe.
His sneakers slipping on the slick paper. The plastic was slit, wig flying. The second cracked the window, kicking and peeled back. Blood sprayed out across the pavement, and it black. Go, go, go! Away, Fig cried. He was shaking. But just as we were getting clear of the parking lot,
Hey.
Fig glanced at the rearview mirror. The man stood at the window. Blood ran down his face, his dress, his left hands, dirty dishes, and watching Reggie finish his bowl. The knot, and I could see the spark extinguishing already. I know he's not having an affair because he smiled and cried because I believed it too. He Jack to send me flowers and medicine.
Tonight. I can.
You know, I can't, Diana. I have 3 meetings back to back. Let's do this some other time, okay? I watched him get up, grab his bag, and leave, giving me a goodbye smile. Just then, my phone rang. It was my sister, Camilla.
Hello? Hello? Reggie just asked me out for dinner. What? Anyway, I'm going out on a date.
PM, I was in the bathroom taking us out to show that he still loves me and worries for me. Right. I'm gonna leave him. Not literally, but I'm gonna fake it that I'm leaving him and I want a divorce. So I hid it in the attic to make it more believable
Right
in the
here.
bedroom closet. From all fools. And then he might yell at me for pulling such a stupid prank, but we'll end up by making wild love. I ate takeouts for lunch and smartly threw away the packaging in the neighbor's trash can.
Time for action.
The weapons.
I somehow controlled my laughter sitting in the around for a bit. Then, just when I thought he
Resident
picked
Evil
it
1.
up, gave it a read, and I watched the color drain from his face. Sorry, Reg, but this is what you get for taking a wife like me for granted. I silently
I
chuckled. A
had
few
just
minutes later,
begun.
he called some closet. I couldn't help but wonder why on earth pull into our driveway. Reggie in his arms like a parasite. They were
Not a
kissing like
parasite.
teenagers. Couple of hours went like a nightmare. I watched them beaming. I was too stunned to move. My mind burnt in anger. My heart wept in betrayal. I knew I had to get my revenge. None of them deserved to. Started
I
choking
was
her.
gonna say.
with-
I bet.
Gave me a hell lot of pictures, and she actually was his house. She has dementia, so it'll be easy to get through. I wish
When you come back to him, you don't know what's
I
going
should have
on.
taken the long way home. I knew that the moment I stepped onto that empty street, my breath fogging in the cold off. The air was thick with something I couldn't name, something watching. I shook off the paranoia and tugged my jacket closer. It was just the
I hope that
exhaustion
that one was
talking.
real, that they
The
went
street
and
was
found
quiet,
out.
only the hopped. So did they.
Because if I'm not mistaken, I think they
No one was
played
there,
one of those
but
videos.
I Emma. The ringing stretched unbearably long.
What's wrong? I think some.
My stomach dropped. The sign was gone. Familiar. The house. Emma's voice wavered. My blood ran perfectly still. Too
Oh yeah, I
still.
think she was okay. I know.
Rise in my throat. Bolted. My legs burned, but I didn't stop. No, no, no. I rolled
Hold up.
around. Silence. No escape. A sound. A roof. Staring down at me. Motionless. Soundless. But I was frozen in place. His hood shifted slightly. Panic. But I couldn't stop. I turned a corner. Wrong turn. Another drifted behind me. I spun. My back pressed to the brick wall. Unnaturally
It's
tall.
Lucas.
Head still angled, unnervingly. Oh no! Step forward from him.
It's the
The legs were bricks. I couldn't run again. He was too close. A voice, deep, distorted. A whisper that slithered into my ears. You shouldn't. I turned my head, my voice catching in my throat. Without hesitation, I threw a halt. The driver's door flung open.
Practice
Sighed.
for a while. Drive. Just drive.
I screamed. Mr.
Yeah,
Dawson
go ahead.
hesitated only a second before slamming his foot on the gas. The car alert sounded like a war drum in my ears, spinning. My fingers gripped the a shadow, standing at the edge of the woods, still alone at night, ever again. Cassie, my roomie, lays, assuming she's just jealous. Once I stepped in, I saw sexuality, a real rarity these days. 20 hours and 5 minutes. We laughed, flirted, and fed. We laughed, flirted, and fed each around 9:30. Didn't feel right. It felt heavier than I expected. Sharp, right. It felt heavier than I expected. Sharp scalps echoed in my purse. Scalps echoed in my purse and steadied my hands. Ryan returned with and steadied my hands. Ryan returned with a smile on his handsome. I nodded. Smile on his handsome. I nodded, forcing a smile.
Yeah.
Couple of drinks. He's forcing a smile.
Yeah.
Couple of drinks. He suggested. Expression shifted. His eyes darkened. He flattened his free hand against the his face turned scarier. Nostrils flaring. The calf turned scarier. Nostrils flaring. The calf metal against wood. Metal against wood. Matched the rate. He didn't answer. The fork struck the rate. He didn't answer. The fork struck faster. Stop. Then, suddenly, his bloodshot eyes locked onto mine. A muscle in his face twitched. His pupils were dilated, wild. Still maintaining point, he will stab his hand with his index finger. Yet, he didn't even flinch. His swallowed hard.
Well, we'll have.
Fork back onto the plate and sucked the blood from his finger. 5 minutes later, we stepped outside. Any other time,
That's
it would
fine,
have been
but
a
we
scene
need to
from a
go.
romantic movie. But now, in an eerily soft voice, heightened, my pulse hammered.
We
Blinking,
making
his
progress.
grasp was under control. I stumbled, barely blood seeped through my torn jeans, and then tramping.
Spitting
in a
on
low,
anybody
venomous
is
whistle. Best of luck, Laura. So hard it hurt. One of the cafe workers who was taking police drove me
I
home,
wonder what a
and I
small
told them
key
every
go.
little track him down. Cassie and I went into
It's
surround
just in
strangers.
case.
My trust issues are. My feet were killing me. 6 hours into my late night shift at Wendy's, I swear I could feel each bone grinding against the next. Nobody was around, except looked like it hadn't seen shampoo in weeks. Realized he was a weirdo.
Hey
His
now, hey
eyes
now.
of my feet.
Sir?
I need more time. Already clean coffee station, stealing glances at him. He was taking pictures of my feet. I'd dealt with creeps before. My ankle with cold, clammy fingers. I like your shaped fit. I yanked my footy. When I dropped a fork, when he finally left, he handed me a 20 for a fine. I thought it was over, but it wasn't.
throwing
I'll
up
be
on
seeing
me?
them soon. The whole drive to my apartment, exhaustion. Do they hurt? Let me rub them for you. I pulled down all the blinds and tried to calm my. Just as I was falling asleep, I heard it. A soft
Dun,
scratching
dun, dun.
noise under my thing, straining
Back
to
up
hear.
later.
Nothing.
Start trying to
Complete
chew on my
silence.
feet.
Slowly, I leaned bed. Empty. Standing outside. Barefoot. Sneakers. The ones I'd been wearing at work. The ones I'd left under the counter. His tongue dragged slowly across the sole. His eyes rolling back in ecstasy. I screamed. I heard it. The gentle creak of my back door with excitement. Darkness. The satisfying crack of it connecting with flesh gave me just enough time. My ankle, yanking. I've been watching them all. He howled, clutching his nose as something sharp sliced through it. But adrenaline pushed, floating rather than running.
The door now,
The alley
broken.
behind my apartment was a dead end. He whispered. He screamed. Never left my feet. Then could barely breathe. I just pointed after they'd searched his apartment and found all boulders. You're safe now. Officer D showed he'd been watching me for weeks, recording every. This.